Hi all, welcome to another chess24 Banter Blitz. So it's 11:30 AM UK time. Before we start, let's have a look at the voucher code you might be interested in. So there's a 15% off premium voucher code here, Kingscrusher, if you want to become a premium member, and you can challenge me, and even Magnus Carlsen plays a lot frequently on chess24, who part owns chess24, so fantastic site to be part of. So 15% off with this voucher code Kingscrusher, so I hope you check that out. Okay, let's go on to the challenges now, challenges screen, and look at the first challenge today. Pick off Kaz is the first challenge today. Okay, so hi Kaz. Okay, I'll play the English opening. I think it gets a reasonably good start position quite often, the English opening. I hope audio and visual is okay. Let me know if otherwise. I'll go for a quick e5 here. So I didn't play d4, so that gives me maybe space advantage already. I'm not sure if black's undermining that heavily on d4 right now. I have got pressure on d5, so with that pressure on d5, okay, maybe actually c5 is interesting, a sort of bind. I wouldn't normally like to play c5, but I think this might be an exception. I can actually prepare b4 against b6, just trying to get that space bind. I think I had this book called 500 Master Games of Chess, which they often did play c5, maybe sometimes inappropriately. I'm just hoping if it can't be undermined that quickly, I can support it with b4 here. So maybe b4, maybe. So a5, a3, I moved that rook so that that's possible, otherwise I'll be losing the rook on a1. I can answer a5 now with a3, so it's a bit of a risk. Okay, so okay, I could lose e5 there if I take and then check. There's knight f7, so I'm going to take with the b pawn, which does activate the rook. So trying to keep that binds on the position. Okay, so knight f3 and bishop d3 may be very interesting. Queen h4 is a clear danger. If I'm not careful, I could lose, for example, d4 if the queen wasn't protecting d4. So I do want to play knight f3. That gives me a comfort. Queen h4 is ruled out a bit. Bishop d3 looks a little bit dangerous. Okay, bishop d2. Okay, to protect the knight. I think this is a useful bind. I'm threatening. Okay, rook b3, where's the queen going there? Doesn't that run into knight takes d5 here? I guess there's queen takes a2, then knight c7 check. Another way of playing this might be queen b1. Hitting, it's not hitting the knight, that's protected. Okay, I still think that's dangerous though. Knight takes d5 looks dangerous. I'll go for that, I think. Oh yeah, if queen takes a2, I think just knight. Oh, knight c7 check. Thanks, Kaz. Okay, yeah, I think maybe allowing c5 wasn't the best. 3 minute with 2 second increments. Okay, I don't know about increments games, but okay, we'll give it a go on this occasion. I hope this doesn't overrun like more than 10 minutes. It's 11:33 now. It's a good experiment as well. So the usual allocation, if it was a 5-minute game, 10 minutes. Let's see if 11:33, if it overruns too much, then I'll be a bit concerned about next time for an increment game. Okay, is white ready? 1 elephant, 2 elephants, 3 elephants, 4 elephants, 5 elephants, 6 elephants, 7 elephants, 8 elephants, 9 elephants, 10 elephants. Okay, I was a bit concerned about the increments anyway. I ideally like just simple time limit constraints. Olaf, so hi Olaf. Okay. So a king's engine. Let's go with e5 here. Is white going to close? Okay, I like that somewhat when it closes. Maybe this is appropriate because I'm wondering if knight f4 can sometimes be... Well, I think you're supposed to do this against the bayonet attack because bayonet has a weakness of the last move, the c3 and the diagonal generally. I think this looks like a natural thing against the bayonet attack to try and open up this bishop. Hitting that up there. Maybe an f5 quickly here. Try and drum up some activity of the pieces, counterplay generally. The king's still in the center as well, so these two pawn moves are giving me also a target, but the king's still in the center, so that should be a red signal here, I think. For white, that's danger signal, rather a danger signal. I think the king's still in the center, but yeah, is my king under fire? I guess I could take... Oh, I can't take on c3, that's illegal. I can play f takes and knight f5. I think I will do that. It sort of undoubles the pawns. Okay, it's not pleasant to have a pinned piece. But where is the white king living here in this position? So say knight takes e4, knight f5. King h8 for knight h4 maybe. That would undermine d4 control a bit. King h8 unpins anyway. It seems like a move I'd probably want to play. King h8. So what's happening here? Knight h4, I can end up protecting h7 more easily than knight d4. I think knight h4 is the way to go. So my queen's protecting h7 against that battery. I wonder though, my king's a little bit exposed. Okay, so... okay, queen takes. Alright. I think I can take on h3 here. Rook h1, check. There's queen f2 on king d2. Anyway, and rook h1 I just take here anyway. I think I'm going to take on h3. Just to get this other rook in. Mainly to get the other rook in. It covers an escape square. King d1, there might be bishop g4 check anyway. The king can't surely be in the center here. It doesn't seem that comfortable. There's also a forcing move to factor in bishop c3 at some point. That might be dangerous. But check. Okay, I'm covering an escape square as well. I think this is the key one. Rook e8. If I play that check now, well, I've got a chance. Okay, there is... If I was looking at forcing moves, queen h5, bishop e2... f3, I don't think it does that much, so I think I will take at the moment. It looks dangerous for queen. Okay, I thought there were some dangers there. f3 looks as though Okay, to stop rook h1 anyway, because that bishop is supporting rook h1. This might have a benefit in its own right. It means maybe queen h4 hits the bishop, and okay, that's dangerous as well. If bishop d3, then there might be rook e2. Okay, queen h4 hits f2 and e4. There's rook. There isn't rook h1 just yet. I think I'll do this for a moment, just to hit the bishop, and that hits the bishop. And queen f2 is a double attack on the rook and the bishop. If bishop f3, in fact, that bishop seems awkward here. Bishop f5, okay, is that a challenge? All right, the bishop's just dropping here. All right, thanks for the game, Olaf. Yeah, I think the king in the center was too dangerous there. Okay, Falcon Skewer. I'll just hang on for a moment. I'm just gonna windscreen wipe on the microphone. Okay, slots out, slots back in, slots out. Need to get this fixed. Now, often people play f8. It's a mistake because of queen h4. Okay, he hasn't done that. Okay, I'm making it into a sort of gambit. It's a bit dodgy, actually. I don't really know if this is any good. I'm just wondering. If I took here, maybe that's the safest. If castling check and I pick up the bishop. I just had this idea, bishop g4, he could take it, then maybe knight g5 check. Oh. What's this? Knight g5, I can take that now, because that ef, that does facilitate queen takes g5. Okay. Queen takes g5. I can play the check for bishop e3 if nothing else. There might be something better than bishop e3, but bishop g4, maybe bishop g4 to start off. Get a tempo, get some pieces developed. And another one. I think queen d2, bishop e3, it looks like the king's gambit has gone wrong slightly compared to the romantic brilliancies of the past with the king's gambit. I think it's gone slightly wrong here. Okay, I can get the queens off, which is not a good sign usually for the king's gambit here. Decentralize there for a moment, that rook. I think the bishop can come back to e7 soon if needed. Or knight d4. Or I can just take that, in fact, couldn't I? There's a check here. I can unpin with king g6. On rook f2, there's rook e1 checkmate there. So king g6 unpins. I think usefully king g6. Okay, thanks to the game, Form Skewer. Okay, let's talk Medita. Let's play the English opening. So I'm looking at b7 here. Okay, d4 might be good here. Okay, this might be good to get the f4 square, I think, or the e pawn. I thought d5 was going to be played. Okay, it was a 3-minute game. Okay, a target on d5. I think I will be greedy and take that. It is a centre pawn after all. Okay, and maybe take this and protect that. Hoping this is going to be promising. Soon I can probably put the bishop on the a3 to f8 diagonal. So b3 and bishop a3 is probably handy. Rook c1 is probably handy. Queen c2, queen c7 gives rise to bishop e7. Oh, there is rook c8 there. Okay, rook c8. Oh, there was also that. Alright, I'll try and bounce back to f4 to try and defend the king a bit. So queen f4 might be handy. Or there's an immediate, maybe there's an immediate bishop e7 being threatened. Bishop e7, I guess there's queen h6. I don't need the hassle, 2 pawns up. I think I'll try and keep things simple. Okay, can I drive this knight back? And put the queen here, I think. It looks like a nice diagonal. Oh, bishop e7, if I want to double the pawns and simplify. Bishop e7. Simplify a bit more to take out this knight. Oh, the rook, okay. Okay, I think I want to take out that knight. And g4 here. Probably bishop takes h4 coming up. Take this guy. Okay, so king g1. So bishop g3 gives rise to rook c7, okay, which gives rise to bishop e5, I think, here. Okay, rook g6 could be an issue. It's a fast and furious game. I could just simplify, actually. I just realised I can just simplify with bishop e5 at the end of this. Oh, okay, I'll pin there. Or get ready for rook g6 check. Alright, rook g8 and rook h8. Alright, face the game, talk in detail. Right, okay, the mechanic. I'll still play the English opening. Okay, so bishop g2, e3, d4. Looks like a standard plan against this, and we've had this before. Maybe I'm okay here. I seem to be okay with this position anyway. I'm just wondering about it is d4, f4. I think d4 here. I think knight f4 is nice to get dark square bishop, or play h4. Okay, maybe e takes here. E takes or g takes. Maybe on this occasion, maybe g takes. Just rule out knight g4. Bishop b4 could be handy. Queen e1 could be handy for bishop a5, or to provoke b6, then there's rook c6. I think queen e1, trying to be delicately probing the dark squares. This bishop without a counterpart. That neural network Stoffles has been emphasizing bishops without a counterpart in extreme ways, like taking out outside pawns to create outside pass pawns. So this bishop without the counterpart, basically all the dark squares around the board could be potentially celebrated, but definitely a5 is one to tempt a4. Okay, b4 is covered here. It doesn't really matter at the moment. But taking out this does give me pass pawn potential later. How strong is the attack from black with the knight on d5? Put the bishop back. Okay, fg, I'll be undoubling my pawns. Queen g5, f4, ef, rook f3 gives me rook g3. So I'll be protecting e3 and having rook g3 there with the queen on e1. But I don't want to overload the queen. I want to retract this bishop to d2. Then on g5 be able to take, and then f3, and that bishop also holds e3 anyway. That kind of French defense bishop is adding a bit of solidity to this pawn structure. Okay, so I'll bring it back so it's not a liability in its own right. I don't want to overload the queen. Now this g5, okay, if I play f3 here, that gives my queen h4 access. The diagonal is potentially going to be weak, but how would I tap into that with this blockader on d5? It's very difficult, it seems, at the moment. Unless the bishop wriggles like that later, it's by h4. Or an exchange sack or something. Not sure about that. For the moment, I'll just undouble the pawns. Queen g3. Okay, I'm ready with f5 maybe. g5, f5. Not to have my lines open against my king. I think rook f2, rook cg1. Rook f2, knight h5. Could be the pain. Queen h2 though. Queen h2 keeps an eye centrally on e5. If later f5 and queen e5, I think queen h2 is a bit of a Nimzovichian overprotection, exaggeration. If I keep an eye on e5, that's a nice central point. So knight h5, queen h2, play rook f1, f5 and queen e5 later. But this bishop, again, it's not that great at the moment. Maybe it has d6 to e5 later. If I have my queen on h2, bishop b4, f5, bishop d6 to e5, I could be targeting that diagonal. If the bishop was on e5, that would be amazing. So I think here, knight h5, queen h2. So idea, bishop b4, queen moves somewhere. f5, bishop d6, bishop e5. I can keep the queen protected here by the king if I want to get in this f5. Is there another way to use this bishop? I'm not sure. I think bishop b4 is probably the way to go for f5. The queen's come off. I'll go with this plan. So g5, f5, looking forward to bishop d6 to e5. And there is g4, that could be dangerous. Alright, let's see how this goes here. f5 here, offering the exchange of queens. Alright, getting rid of the queens, putting the bishop on e5. I'll drop e3. That's a bit of a technicality. So I drop e3. f6 might be dangerous. gf, rook f6, king g8. That's rook h6, king h7. I don't want to drop e3. Okay, let's protect this. So I want probably bishop e5. Probably, oh, there's knight d7 though. It doesn't look that lucrative with knight d7, to be honest. Okay. Knight d7. Okay, the bishop goes somewhere else. Maybe to d6. Just sits around on d6 for a moment. On knight d7, bishop d6. Right, can I use this g file? If I put my bishop on e2, then I can double the rooks. Rook g1, rook g2. That eyes h5 as well. Okay, there's a convergence against g7, the common sort of cooperating square. If I double the rooks, maybe rook g6 as well for something like rook f6 later. I think my plan is to double the rooks here now. And then play rook g6. So rook g7 is also threatened tactically for bishop f6. Rook g7 for bishop f6 nearly works. Okay, rook g6. This is getting dangerous. The knight moves rook h6 is mate. That pin pawn. Alright, if I just keep the pressure for a moment, let's see what black's doing there. Okay, and again another waiting move. This gives me bishop c4. It's a weakness of the last move. It's neglected. Avoid looking at the arrows. Just look at the weakness of the last move, which is it's not guarding c4. So it's an open invite there for c4. That's a disaster. Taking in bishop f6 is a disaster. Okay, thanks for the game there, mechanic. Okay, Chapper has got a decent rating. Thank you, Chapper. So if you remember last episode, Chapper was about 1400. Playing a trick on me to demotivate me for the game, spending my time on the clock wondering what's happened to his rating. Okay, here we go. Knight d7. It looks like something I've seen before. I think there's been there was a Stockfish versus Alpha Zero game which was spectacular. It was something like a form pawn and a piece sack later. It was wonderful. I'll try and recreate that. Maybe bishop d4 and knight g3 is fun. So f4, bishop d4, knight f2. Knight g3 is possible there. So if hg, hg. That's dangerous. The dark squares are generally quite dangerous here. So if we look at f4, bishop d4, knight f2, knight g3. I think Mikhail Tal in the Benoni positions, all the dark squares, very dangerous when Mikhail Tal's playing the Benoni. So knight g3, I'm in the spirit of Tal, I think, a little bit at least. So knight g3, so I'm going to be playing on the dark squares here. Maybe king g7, rook h8 is a bit, Kasparov's used this idea a lot in the King's Engine. King going to g7, try and use the h file. So king g7, rook h8. On rook e1, okay, what happens? How do I push forward on rook e1? I can undermine dark squares with g5 to give me e5 more. But I think I'm attracted to king g7 and rook h8 just to be ready for the h file. So king g7, rook h8. Because at some point, oh, maybe the king's having difficulty moving here. At some point, it's going to be... okay, so rook h1. Right, I can keep my bishop there by taking on e2. That's probably the way to do it here, and keep the bishop. And play knight f6. Maybe knight h5 later for another knight g3. So knight f6, to start calculating this, knight f6, e5, knight h5, e6 might be scary. E6 might be scary. I think I need the other rook on the e file. I wonder, queen f6, there's knight g4. c4 might be a better idea. There's always bishop d4 coming up as well. This might be it's not that great. Okay. b6, knight b6, looking at moves now, knight f6. I think I'll go with knight f6. I have a suspicion e5 might not be that strong. For example, if e6, queen f6. No, it does look strong. Okay, whatever. Queen b6, is that annoying? Queen b6. When I say annoying, that doesn't seem like a very theoretical thing to say annoying, but I've heard that before recently. It's not always my personal preference to find an annoying move. I want a theoretically solid move. So bishop d7. But I'm thinking e5, there's knight h5. Now here, again, for a knight g3 idea, but I want to get this rook here to dissuade e5. Okay, now, knight g3 check might come into its own at some point. How would I actually... There's queen d8 to h4 as a pivot. So if I ever got a pawn pawn there, there's queen d8 for rook h1, queen h4, queen h2, queen h1 mating. Do I start off with queen d8 or do I play knight g3 immediately? Would he actually give me a pawn? Would it be eliminated? I don't know if it is eliminated that quickly. So knight g3 takes queen d8. There's no way of hitting g3. I think I'll go with that. So threatening rook h1. Queen h4, queen h2, queen h1. e6, rook h1, queen h4, queen h2, queen h1. There's no queen e3 here. There's no knight f2. Well, there is a knight f2. That could be a good try. Oh, there is an escape for the king. Okay, bishop f5. Does that help? Or taking out this for bishop b5 to just that escape exit. If I take out... Oh, that's interesting with tempo, bishop f5. I think they're both interesting. I don't know about bishop f5 being good. There is an exit. I think this diagonal... I don't know now. At least it... Oh, don't know. It's got takes and... Oh, e6. Okay, it's going to be interesting. E6, f6. I just want to get onto this diagonal. King f1, bishop b5. King e2. Okay, there's queen f... No, there isn't queen f4. Is there rook takes e5 there? There's a pin in two places. Okay. I'll get in my bishop b5. There's king e2. Maybe g5. Oh, this is getting a bit scary. King e2, g5. There's rook h5 for rook e5. If king d2, I could try... I think that might be a bit too much. Maybe g5. Oh, okay, that is kind of... it looks pretty bad for me. Okay, I think I messed up there. Uh-oh. Yeah, that looks severely messed up. That looks really messed up. Oh, blimey. That's so messed up. Yeah. Yeah. I've messed that up. I think I might have had a decent position earlier, but it's gone. Well played. Let's have a quick... I suspect I had a decent position. Let's see, in another universe. This position that I thought was dangerous. Rook h2. Blimey. D takes e5. I would never even thought. No, hang on. It's changed its mind there. I think is it changing its mind? What's the idea anyway? Oh, it's a tempo to double the rooks. Oh, that should be equality anyway. Okay, a lot going on there. Well played. I didn't see... Yeah, D takes to double the rooks. This is an interesting one. Okay, very interesting. It was a bit speculative, I think, in retrospect, of course. But yeah, to double the rooks is a priority. I think the king exit was good, making way for the king, and the counterattack was really good. It was refuted. Ah, it was refuted. So tangoing here. This gives me some dark square play. This kind of Alekhine defense with the knight going from the queen side to the king side instead of the king side to the queen side. You could look at it like that. So in the Alekhine defense, you get light square weaknesses provoked. Here it's dark square weaknesses. I generally provoke the dark square weaknesses with this tango. Can I go for that h3 instead of castling? Be pretty routine, but queen c8 is more specific here. I think king at h2, maybe h5. This is my favourite playground actually recently with the black pieces. So it all started, this friend of mine, Paul Georgiou, introduced me to this opening. I kept wondering why I kept losing with white, because it seemed good to push d5 and stuff, gaining space, but it was at a dark square concessions. And I think Paul also, in King's Indian style positions, was provoking with knight g4, knight h6 in other sort of positions to sort of tempt dark square weaknesses. I think it's almost in the spirit of the Alekhine defense, but just for the dark squares instead of the the light squares. So h6 and was it h5 and knight g4 maybe? Maybe that's even better. Or knight f4 and h6. h6 or h5? That's the question. h6 or h5? Or knight f4. What do I actually want to do with this position? I probably want to play knight f4, h6 and bishop h3. So if taking that sort of mating net stuff. Yeah, I think I'm aiming for bishop h3 again, but with a knight on f4. So knight f4, h6. Knight goes back, bishop h3. I think that's the plan. h6, knight f4. Oh, here the knights. Where's the knight going after this? Bonuses here, bishop h3 anyway now. I don't think people are that equipped for the tango. It feels a bit naughty to go outside of main opening theory, but I think what I'm seeing in like the Magnus Carlsen bullet games I've been checking out, he does use a lot of, to make them also spicier and more fun, he does use a lot of very unusual openings, which I think in Blitz is just lethal. I think people end up, even IMs and GMs, they end up doing weaknesses of the last move with a lot greater frequency than, say, Blitz time control. If you go to bullet, weakness of the last move is an absolute killer. Yeah. But he combines that with these very, very unusual openings. I know it's the faster the time control. Okay, Feng's Cobra. So let's see. The next challenge. Goggin Pool. Yeah, some crazy fun stuff. I think that's the beautiful layered texture of the game, actually, that there are a lot of perks for the faster time controls to have a lot of weirder and wackier, not just opening variations, but ideas tested just very easily without too much penalty. Yeah, I've been checking out stuff there, even at that time control, for Magnus Carlsen recently. It's quite fascinating. Okay, so we've got a sort of Dutch defense, and is here, okay, it's a sort of classical setup. Ginger GM repertoire. Simon Williams gave me a shout out. He does excellent coverage of Gibraltar every year, and he's a Dutch classical enthusiast. He's beaten the likes of Korchnoi as well when Korchnoi was around, and yeah, I remember it was also very good at the English opening very early on in his career. And we had one or two encounters, actually. I think I might have actually beaten him once, and then later he was much stronger and crushed me. But when he was a little junior, when Ginger GM was a little junior. So I'm veering off the subjects today. Yeah, okay, forget it. Okay. Anyway, if you want the Dutch classical, though, he's got, I think, good stuff on that DVD and stuff. Okay, so okay, so E3, knight F3, knight D3. Maybe, I wonder if, I don't know. I don't know what squares to go for just yet. I wonder if, I am wondering if DC, knight F4 is any good. What about nudging this knight? If I play F3 here, can I nudge the knight? The problem with E4, isn't he just going to play CD? Fascinating. I don't know. Don't really know if e4 does anything. What if I just double the rooks? That seems a safer, less committal thing. If I double the rooks, okay, I've got to worry about f3 now on bishop b7. Okay, if I kick this knight, I'm creating weaknesses. I can't have everything. Now this, and then dc. Try and do something with d file, or knight f4. Try and do something with this d file. That's a concession, though, isn't it? If I create a battery, let him to take, so I occupy that diagonal. If I can let to take as a mistake, if I can prompt to take as a mistake, generally. Okay, so go into here. Keep an outpost on that key square. Try and restrict the knight. Maybe f4, try and restrict that knight. Okay, the bishop's shut in with e4. The bishop might have prospects later. Bishop h3, king h2, g4 later even. I'll have to worry about h4 there. I think f4 looks positional in some sense to restrict the knight. I think I'll do that, even though it's a self shut-in of the bishop up to e4. I do stretch the diagonal out here for the queen. So e4, maybe king f2 and h5, or king f2, rook h1 for h5. Maybe that's more effective than h5 immediately. Just king f2, rook h1. Trying to prompt maybe h5. Would that give anything? It locks down g4. Locks down h5 as well. If that's really the case, what about h5 immediately? Because on e4, king f2, there's h5 with a lockdown. If I played h5 immediately, what about g5? Okay, I'm going to test this. I'm going to do king f2, maybe hoping h5 isn't played. The thing is, h5, there's g5. It's not that easy. There's g5 on h5. a3 and b4. I've noticed also I've got a pawn majority over here. What about a3 and b4? We'll put pressure on c5 anyway. So okay, this b4 plan might have something to go. Okay, a lockdown over there, but I've got this pass pawn potential over here. Oh, the knight can also. Okay, I can play bishop f3 or something, bishop e2 to hold g4 against knight h6 to g4. I'm immediately threatening b takes though, surely. Okay, I might be threatening c5. That's fragmented. c5 looks dangerous. Is c5 dangerous? Knight h5. Okay, bishop f3, e4. Well, I could take the queen on e4. That's pinned. Okay. Knight h6, bishop f3. Just in case. c6 might be lucrative. I don't know if that's double edged. I'm going to go with this just for a moment. Just against this plan in advance, like Petrosian extinguishing plans in advance. I'm just concerned c6 is a bit committal here. What if I trebled on the d file? Rook d3, there's e4, and this is a tactic there. Okay, I'll go with rook d2, maybe get the Alekhine's gun, which I don't know if that really does anything. I don't want to get mated here. My king's around e3. I meant d1. That was I meant to go to d1, but anyway, all right. Let's get the king on a slightly safer spot. Well, there's f takes here anyway for rook e5. So the Alekhine's gone. Thanks for the game, Goggin, Paul. Oh, yeah, that was interesting. Kramnik student. Okay, so Kramnik student. Let's try E4. And what happens? Smith Morra is accepted. Whoa, that's a bit committal for a blitz game. Accepting the Smith Morra, the dangerous Smith Morra gambit. Oh, this is the pro. This is the so-called pro thing. Is that? Knight GE7. I think white doesn't have to be that committal here to enjoy the position. Knight B5 screams out. That pin, I mean, is just winning a material, isn't it? Right, so queen, say queen D2, I think looks good, just to double the rooks. Okay, I'm taking away A5 if that's important. Double the rooks, everything. This idea that everything's protecting each other, no loose pieces around, otherwise you're asking for trouble. Security in the wider sense of the position is something Nimzovich raved about, like. So just keeping things protected is kind of Nimzovichian, keeping everything protected, sort of form of prophylaxis before any tactical disasters happen that easily, especially in blitz. So I wonder bishop b6 to a5 or bishop b6 to c7, or just keep the c5 with queen c2 and see what's happening there. I don't want to give up b5 actually. I'll do this, does not give b5 for a moment. It also keeps a3 a bit more protected. Knight e5, is that a big deal? If I play bishop d4 here, oh, there might be knight f4. Okay, knight f4, maybe queen d2. E5 I want, type 1 decision, permanently weakening d5, committal, type 1 type decision, e5. Right, I'm hoping queen d2 doesn't fall victim to something horrible. Bishop d4, not queen d4 because knight e2 check, but knight d4. That is a type 1 decision prompted, committal pawn move. d5 is a central square to compromise, more important than a lot of other squares usually. So d5 compromised. But if I do this, I'm liberating the bishop. I'm going to keep the opponent's pieces contained as another form of prophylaxis, keeping the opponent sort of contained structurally, the pieces within the pawn structure. So let's see, trying to keep this bishop contained. That's something neural networks like doing. So knight g6, rook d3. By the way, I don't know if any of you have seen Ex Machina. I saw that last night for the first time. It is a sci-fi classic. Have any of you seen Ex Machina, about neural network sort of AI? I don't know if they didn't actually mention it was. It must have been neural network based. But yeah, I think they're offering a lot to our chess understanding, the neural networks at the moment. But Ex Machina, I think, is a classic sci-fi film. I think it's a must-see now, I'm convinced. Okay, I mean, I've seen it now. I'm happy I've seen it. So rook here. Oh, there's rook a3. On rook c7. This could get tricky. No, I'll be winning the bishop. So rook c3, rook a3, rook c7. I think I'm winning the bishop. Okay, I'll go with this. I think I want to use d5, queen d5. No. He can do this. I haven't got c7. He can do that. Okay, I'm falling apart here. Okay, taking queen d5. I'm falling apart. I've got the b pawn. Rook b6, there's queen a8. On queen a7, there's rook d6 perhaps. But queen a8 I can't refute. I think the simplest might be to try and do this and queen d5, which isn't ideal, definitely far from ideal. I've got a passed b pawn to play with in the endgame though. If the queens come off, if they don't come off, that queen's good on d5 surely. If the queens do come off, is my d5 weak? Knight c7, rook a7 though, pins. Oh, knight d5 protects e7. b5, b6 is probably a little bit dangerous. Even if I lose d5. Alright, I'm wondering now if rook a7 is going to be... Oh, I don't like that. Can I use the pawn without being mated here with b5, b6, b7? That's the question. The queen on d5, it looks like it's having a good time. There's rook a2 as well if needed to kick this queen off my second rank. I think the pawn could be good. b6, b7, rook a8. I'm hoping this pawn is good. Knight c5, bishop c5, dc. I have rook a8 there, pinning the rook. I can drag the queen, the pawn to queen. The queen's still on the diagonal. I can make it a pass c pawn instead with queen c6 maybe. If queen b2, rook a7. If d5, rook a7. Okay, I'll try and make it a pass c pawn instead. Which I still think is okay, and it's a forcing move. Queen c6. So I'm trying to limit the opponent's options. Queen c6 hits the queen. Pass c pawn, d5 hits the rook. Rook a7. Alright, there is queen c7, queen e7 as well here, which is bishop and knight for rook, and there's still b6 at the end of it. So I think I'll go for that. That's clarity, isn't it? There's a bit of clarity. There's also knight e5 if needed here for that pin. But I think the principle is b6, more principled move, b6. Pass pawns to be pushed, principle. Queen c7, b7 is on e4. I can drag the pawn forward more with queen c7. Doesn't matter about e4. b7, queen c8. So I play queen c8 here, king f8. There's knight e5 there, the bishop c5 check. Knight e5, what would he do? Threatening knight d7. Check all checks principle. Check all forcing moves, high priority. Knight e5, forcing move. Just try and calculate this as stuff as high priority. Knight d7. Well, I can take and then b8 queening here. There is a queen e4 check. I don't want a perpetual check scenario. That's one thing I don't want. I think knight d7, okay. King e7. Let's just quickly look. Is there perpetual checks? If there's a queen there, it's not. There's no check on a queen. I don't think it's a perpetual check scenario. Famous last words. Okay. Okay, thanks for the game, Kremlin student. Yeah, that was an interesting one. Okay, I just want the standard time limit, please. Challenges. Okay. Okay, so bishop g7 and d6. And how is he on? Bullet's not bad either. Just if we did get to a bullet finish, I'd like to know. If I take in a knight e7, I get f6 for a moment. I mean, taking a knight e7, I'm trying to get a favourable king's engine transposition style position. It's not automatically recapturing here. That's very interesting. This is a person that is a perfectionist, not auto recapturing, looking for all opportunities on every move. Which, as you should. If time permits, that trade-off, time on the clock versus scientific perfection. Okay, so queen e8 to f7, or bishop going to f7. This d5 looks like an Achilles heel in white's position, a slight downside Achilles heel. It's quicker to say downside than Achilles heel. I was watching a fascinating IT conference from 1970. Kay was the founder of object-oriented thing, and he was saying the Japanese have the most important words shorter, like ma, because with object-oriented programming, he's been apologizing ever since for the concept, and it's more important to have the ma. The stuff in between is more important than the objects themselves, and apparently he's been apologizing ever since. But they've done the opposite of 1984. They've actually made the shorter words apparently more important. So in 1984, Georgia 1984, it's like the vocabulary was restricted. So Japanese thinking, they've actually made the important words shorter, and it's the ma, which is the whole downfall of the object-oriented like marketing of it as a noun rather than the actions on it. I thought that was fascinating. I'm going through a lot of go-to conferences at the moment, but this idea that first of all, you know, if you want priority words, make them shorter, more convenient to use, like ma. So yeah, if I'm saying downsides rather than Achilles heel, or just negatives, just anything, if you can like shorten the word, because as a chess player, you're trying to look for the negatives quite often to capitalize on the negatives. So how can you like simplify that task? Do you like trying to simplify your vocabulary first? But I think I like downsides as a comfortable word in my own thinking right now. So I didn't in the past, but at the moment I'm comfortable with that. So okay, but Achilles heel just sprung to mind just then. I just realized I don't want to like be thinking, oh, in this relation, Achilles heel. It's too long. It's too long. So anyway, queen h4 for queen g3 is interesting. Okay. Okay, what's going on here? I take out that bishop. I would have the bishop without the counterpart. Maybe g5 could do some carnage to the dark squares there. Knight e3 and g5. If I'm celebrating the dark squares, well, I'm going to be. I think g5 comes into it here. I think in chess, what we've done with opening theory is the equivalent of selling all the noun and verbs, like all these weird and wonderful nouns and verbs. He's been a lot of the speakers actually talk about that. If it's like we're selling opening theory, we don't sell middle game like theories that much, because there's endless enough openings to sell basically with books and DVDs. So don't give anyone any fundamental knowledge. Whatever you do, don't give them anything actually useful and time insensitive. Just talk about openings, the latest openings. But that used to be. I used to myself get a lot of these opening trends books and opening books. But my preference is beefing up, if I can, the middle game. Am I actually dropping f5 here? Okay, I am, aren't I? Too much chat. I'm dropping f5. That's just great. I found a way to drop f5 tactically. That's just fantastic. Okay. Let's try and do this. I think this is the lesser evil move. So GH, bishop H6. So what's the mar of this position? What's the important interactions of this position? I think for me at the moment, I would say my dark square bishop without a counterpart from a Stofla's perspective. If Stofla's was playing this position, I think it would think about B2 or something, or A5, because it's on a dark square. It's the bishop to celebrate. So as well as the literal where I'm attacking, it's the other subtle places. Dark squares could be important. Okay, here queen takes G5. Okay, now queen F6 runs into G4, or does it? Queen H4, GF. That would be losing material for me. I have to have an answer. I don't have an answer. I think it's worse to play Queen H5 because of Knight G3, so I'll go with this less evil move. Try and lock down G4. That gives me Bishop H6 anyway. No, I don't want to draw my head on the clock. Bishop H6, practicality. Dark square celebration begins. There is Queen H4 for Bishop E3, which give me two connected passed pawns. Would I want that simplification? Is there a strong blockade on F4 after with Knight F4? Or does D4 drop? G6 drops, King G6, Rook G5, F5 might drop. Still, it is or just win the exchange. If I win the exchange, Knight F4, I've got a bad bishop. I actually prefer the passed pawn potential to being the exchange up. With the dark square bishop, I think I prefer this position than being the exchange up. Because I've still got the liberating dark square bishop. Okay, let's protect H5. Maybe, so bishop D4 and King G5, two key threats. Okay, if I take and D5 cements his bishop, I like that position, cementing the bishop. It gives me Rook E8, two connected passed pawns, blunted bishop. Okay, there's still two connected passed pawns. Although I'm doing my best to lose all my pawns. There's King G5 and there's Rook E8. Alright, there's King G5 and F4. I can get these two connected passed pawns running. King G5, F4, E3, Bishop E4 later. This looks like huge potential. E3. Okay, I can do that, protect A6. Let's get behind that one. So E3 and Bishop E4. Right, that is a bit of a pain. Let's stop that one. Runaway criminal, as Nimzovich would say. So E3 for E2. Well, there's this one to protect. Right, let's protect that for a moment. Let's go back here. So E3 for E2. Right, that stops A8 usage. E3 for E2. And it's F3 now. Oh, hang on. Did I just blunder horribly there? Because there's no Rook A6. I think I might have done. Whoops. Oh, what a muppet. It's good he hasn't got any time. Otherwise I would have been in trouble. What a total muppet I am. I seriously, what a total muppet. Okay, I didn't need to mug that up at the end. I think in principle I had a good idea there for the mobile pass pawns. In principle, I would say. Okay, thanks. Chess Cadet. Hi there, Chess Cadet. Okay, so E5, is going to be this Vienna game business. That's a passive treatment of the Vienna game, d6. The more critical test, I think, at least equalizes. It's not the most fantastic if black knows what they're doing in the Vienna game. But this is like a sort of softer version of the King's Gambit style positions. Well, not really. Okay, it's okay. Some sort of. I think the Vienna game has a relationship to the King's Gambit. I think it's. Yeah, if you don't want to sacrifice anything, the Vienna game. So, okay. This knight d5 and f6 looks tempting. Will I just take off here? Yeah, I'm just going to do this forcing stuff. f6, get a pawn pawn. Maybe c3 to stop knight d4. Well, okay, how is that knight challenged? Knight b8? But the other thing about this, say he does g6, isn't that solid for black? Okay, I thought the other way would be more solid. I can just put a knight on f5 here. Knight d4 could be a pain. Okay, c3, knight c2, queen g3, king moves, knight f5, knight takes. I think I can stop this knight d4 business. Knight e7, I'd rather take knight f5. Okay, I'll stop the knight d4 business. So I want knight f5 and queen g3. Okay, so knight f5 is the key, I think. And then I can build the rooks behind this. So queen h4, rook f3, rook af1, rook g3. Just build the rooks, build the pressure. Do I need to consider... Okay, I'll look after b3. Just in case that leads to an outside pass pawn later, tying down all my pieces. Okay, so rook f3, rook a f1. So it's funny that if you see some horror stories about losing a flank pawn, then you might protect them more, I guess. Isn't queen h6 a mate threat here, tactical mating threat? Queen h6 is mating. Bishop f8, queen h6, bishop takes, rook takes is checkmate. Let's imagine rook h8 as the defense. I think that holds as a defense, but I'm going to bring my other rook to g3. So it won't hold under that circumstance because the rook will be covering the escape square g8. So let's say rook h8, rook f1, rook f3, rook g3, queen h6, bishop h6, rook h6 is mate. This is good compensation that I have. In fact, am I even a pawn down here? Okay. I think there's rook g7, queen h6. Right, thanks for the game, Chess Cadet. Okay, yeah, that looked a bit dangerous to allow that continuation. Okay, as time goes by, so we start with a transposition to a much more familiar opening. I'll play d6 here. That's one of my preferences here. I feel a bit cozier playing d6 and d3, giving back pawn, minimizing dynamic potential in faster time controls, I believe is practical, because there's you don't want too much complexity when the opponent has the initiative. So giving back pawns like that, I don't mind. In fact, with the bishop on d3, I'm finding bishop g4, does that lead to a time waste with bishop e2? That's an annoying pin, isn't it? Bishop g4. So h3, I mean, there's lots of dark square weaknesses that result if g4. the queen's also a target now on the e file for rook e8 and bishop f8. I'll play on that bishop f8 for the targeting alignment against the queen. Okay, so e4 is a bit of a target. On knight g3, yes. Bishop g6. Okay, can I do a3, a fawn pawn queenside? I'm sensing something there as well. If I double the rooks here, does it matter about him doubling my pawns? It might do. Okay, I might be in a bit of bother here. I don't want to spend too long on it. I'll let him double my pawns. I'm hoping I'm not going to get mated and I can just double or put a bit of pressure on black's position. Alright, e5, yeah, I'm running into e5 potentially. This nice pin, I think he's playing nicely at the moment. Very nice. Unfortunately for me. I'm pinned up on both sides of the board. I'm hoping this bishop's going to be handy now. F5 at some point. Bishop h6 to f4 maybe. Creative use of the bishop. Trying to guard this f5 square. Yeah, it looks being done over at the moment. Did I have knight d4? Maybe that would have unpinned. Okay. Okay, can I at least take out this knight to relieve this pressure? If I play bishop f4, rather than condemning the bishop, just swap it off. We've seen in games of neural networks, when they give up bishop a certain colour, it's the other colour, which is often interesting after. I'm going to do that here. Oh, tactically though, bishop f5, rook f5. Imagine there's queen g4 check. I refuse it. I'm going to take off this guy. Maybe there's bishop e4 here. And two rooks for the queen. Okay, f5. What about f5 then? f4. Okay, would he really go for that? I'm going to test it. I'm going to test it because I'm not sure the queen's that bad in that position. I'm not sure against the two rooks. Queen f5, that seems to hit the knight and protect f6. Stinging eyes again. Okay, so queen g6. Queen g6. I'm glad there's only a few minutes. Oh, I don't know what I've been doing on the computer recently. I didn't think I was doing that much on the computer recently. Okay. It's a very dangerous position. Try and nudge the queen. Queen c5, queen f6. There is a check here. Hang on, there's a check here. Alright, thanks for the game as time goes by. Okay, let's do another challenge. I've been calculating too many variations today or something. I think this is a side effect. Calculating too much. Oh, don't remember this last week. Okay. There's not pre-move there. G5 and knight e4. This looks pretty, I don't know, sharp stuff. I'm weakening lots of squares. Trying to get something tactical going. Maybe, I think I've seen this kind of thing before. Rook g8 and bishop c3. Queen f6, so there's no f5. I can take it on I think knight e5 and then g4 or knight g3. Knight g3 is too dangerous. I think maybe knight e5 and then g4. On queen h5 there's knight f7. This piece is now hanging to queen a4 check. Why don't I, just for a laugh, not lose the bishop on b4? Okay, I'll take that to double the pawns at least. Try and sort out this killer threat, queen h5. Or is it? It's not really a killer threat at the moment. Can I just play g4 here? c6, queen h4. Queen h4 and okay. Sometimes it happens to me when I'm playing I don't play so much 30-second chess, but when I used to, yeah, I think I had a big problem towards the end of such tournaments. I think just maybe it's not blinking or something. So I don't really personally recommend 30-second chess at the moment. As a great form of chess, physically at least. It might be entertainment-wise if you can handle it. But for me, yeah, okay. Not so much at the moment. Although occasionally, yeah. C6, queen g5. Try and blink. C6 or queen g5. And do I want to weaken dark squares to save the pawn? Yes, probably. Probably, I don't know, actually. b6 gives me bishop a6. Maybe that's something. b6 for bishop a6. I want to suppress that rook. This is getting too dangerous. I think I'd rather give up a pawn than have to face that rook. It's opposite coloured bishops. I think I'd rather do that to reduce my opponent's dynamic potential. Oh, my pets. Have I just lost an entire rook? Great. I've just lost an entire rook there. I didn't think it was that dangerous to lose an entire rook. Clearly, I was wrong. Okay, great. Okay, I control the rooks to make sure they have got no entry points that easy in this position. Try and use the pawns over here. Sort of create a fortress style position. Oh, I've just allowed rook f2, have I? I didn't need to allow rook f2 necessarily. Okay, it's a bit of a, I think, fortressy hope of the fortress for a moment. Although a4 is going to be a pain, isn't it? Is it? Or is it going to give me a pass to a pawn, a4? If he took, I get a pass to a pawn. Try and create a fortress over there. a4 is under much greater effect there. I'll try and fortressize this position. Okay. How would I do that even? I'm tempting him for rook f2 by playing that. No, he's just going to crash through with rook f6. That's crashing through. There's rook d6 winning another pawn. If he wanted. Okay. No, he doesn't want to take that. There's rook d6 all the time winning another pawn though. Okay. It gives me hope he's not seeing absolutely everything. Okay. If I get the king in there, rook f3, rook h3, that's pretty ambitious. How do I keep that hope alive? Here? Get the king to g4. Oh no, I'm just getting mated. I'm just getting mated. Oh, he had a mate in one with rook f4, I believe. Okay, I've been sort of let off for a moment. Can I play rook c3? Okay, my king should have been mated by this point. If I take out that pawn, it is a 2-1 pawn majority against 3 extra pieces. If I could make it a 2-0, it would be much more impressive. 2-0 pawn majority. Yes, I think that's over, unless I can arrange self-stalemate position. I think it's kind of over. Yes. Is there a stalemate? Yeah, because I actually saw a few days ago a composition which was on Reddit for stalemate. I thought, there's no way I'm ever going to need that sort of composition resource. No way. I just thought, hang on. So we master checkmate, but we don't master the art of taking away all our moves. It is actually a useful skill, as this game shows, not to lose so many hundreds of rating points. Okay, on that note, okay. All right. Okay. Thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed today. Yeah, one fun, 10 boring. Okay. And see you next week. Thanks very much.